The clock struck 10 in the evening as Nurse Rachel made her rounds through the dimly lit corridors of Riverside Psychiatric Hospital. This was her first night shift at this particular facility, and the eerie atmosphere was already getting to her. The old building creaked with every gust of wind, and shadows danced across the walls in ways that made her skin crawl. When she reached room number 11, something made her pause. Through the reinforced window in the door, she could see a young woman sitting on her bed, facing the wall and whispering quietly to herself. The patient was beautiful, probably around 27 years old, with long auburn hair cascading down her back. Rachel's hand trembled slightly as she reached for the door handle. She'd worked with psychiatric patients before, but there was something different about this place tonight. The silence felt heavy, oppressive, broken only by the occasional rattle of windows in their frames. Taking a deep breath, she pushed the door open. The moment she stepped inside, the young woman burst into maniacal laughter, her body contorting in unnatural ways. Then, without moving her body, she twisted her head around to face Rachel, her neck rotating far beyond what should be humanly possible. Rachel's blood turned to ice. Her feet felt rooted to the spot as sweat broke out across her forehead. With shaking hands, she managed to close the door and stumbled toward the nurse's station, her heart pounding so hard she thought it might burst. At the station, she found Nurse Sandra finishing a phone call. "Don't worry at all, Mrs. Johnson. She's absolutely fine. We're taking excellent care of her," Sandra was saying in a soothing voice. After hanging up, she noticed Rachel's pale face. "What's wrong, Rachel? You look terrified." Rachel told her everything that had happened in room 11. Sandra nodded knowingly. That call was from the girl's mother. She calls every single night to check on her daughter. They brought her here several months ago from California and haven't visited since. "What's wrong with her?" Rachel asked, still trying to calm her racing heart. "She's quite beautiful, but what I saw, it wasn't normal." Sandra's expression grew serious. Her condition could be caused by two things. Either she loved someone so deeply that losing them drove her insane, or something supernatural is involved. In her case, unfortunately, it's both. She settled back in her chair and began telling Nina's story. Nina was 27 years old, in her final year at UCLA studying computer science. She was the most beautiful girl on campus, with every guy vying for her attention. But Nina lived in a world of dreams, constantly fantasizing about her perfect soulmate. She would talk to herself, laugh out loud at nothing, and spend hours writing in her journal about her imaginary future husband. Her parents were deeply concerned. Their daughter was approaching 30, and they'd introduced her to several eligible young men from their social circle. But Nina rejected every one of them, claiming none of the suitors matched her dream man. Eventually, their friends stopped suggesting matches altogether. Every night, Nina would sit by her bedroom window in Westwood, writing in her precious journal by lamplight. That journal contained every detail of her ideal life partner, his appearance, his personality, even his clothing style. It had become her most treasured possession, the repository of all her hopes and dreams. On her 27th birthday, Nina brought her journal to campus as usual. Her friends threw a celebration at the student center, including her best friend Nicole and two newer friends, Ethan and Jason. Both young men had fallen for Nina, though neither had confessed their feelings to her or each other. During the party, Nina received an urgent call from her mother while she was writing in the university library. In her haste to leave, she forgot her journal on the table. Jason noticed this and, making sure no one was watching, slipped the journal into his backpack. That night, Jason read every page of Nina's journal in his off-campus apartment. With each entry, his expression grew stranger, more calculating. By 1 a.m, he finished reading and placed the journal beside his bed with a twisted smile before going to sleep. Meanwhile, Nina's apartment was in chaos. She was frantically searching for her missing journal, her most precious possession. The noise prompted her roommate to check on her. After reassuring her roommate that everything was fine, Nina cried herself to sleep, feeling as though her heart had been torn out. The next morning at UCLA, Nina looked miserable. When Nicole asked what was wrong, Nina explained about losing her journal. Just then, Jason arrived at their usual spot in the campus quad, and Nina's eyes widened in shock. He was wearing exactly the outfit she had described for her dream man in her journal: a navy blue Henley, dark jeans, and brown leather boots.
Suddenly, all her sadness melted away. She felt an instant attraction to Jason, convinced that the universe had brought her the man of her dreams. When Jason asked her out for coffee that very day, Nina eagerly accepted. Their romance blossomed quickly, though Ethan watched their relationship develop with a broken heart. But Jason's behavior soon became disturbing. His love turned obsessive and possessive. He wouldn't let anyone near Nina, even pushing away her best friend, Nicole. His jealousy reached dangerous levels when he brutally attacked Ethan in the parking garage one evening. Jason's actions grew increasingly bizarre. He would carve Nina's name into his own skin with razor blades, sending her love letters written in his own blood. What had initially seemed like devotion was clearly mental illness, and Nina began to fear him. One day, visiting Jason's apartment near campus, Nina discovered her missing journal in his bedroom. Searching through his desk drawers, she found disturbing photographs of several different young women, all beautiful, along with more blood-stained letters. While examining these items, an older man entered the apartment. "Don't be frightened," he said gently. "I'm Robert, Jason's uncle. I work in San Francisco, but drive down here weekly to check on him. He has no family left except me." The uncle's next words chilled Nina to the bone. Jason has been battling severe mental illness since his parents died in a car accident when he was 16. He's obsessed with collecting beautiful things, objects, antiques, even people. Look around you. Nina noticed for the first time that the apartment was filled with beautiful collectibles, expensive art pieces, and vintage items, like a museum of stolen treasures. "He doesn't understand real emotions," Robert continued sadly. "He's only attracted to external beauty. When something becomes damaged or loses its appeal to him, he simply discards it completely." Nina showed him the photographs she'd found. "These are pictures of girls Jason has dated," he explained. "I've met a few of them over the years, but they never lasted long. I don't know what happened to them. His psychiatrist advised me not to ask too many questions that might trigger his violent episodes." With trembling hands, Nina picked up one more photograph that was face down. When she turned it over, her blood ran cold. It was a picture of herself, taken without her knowledge. The realization hit her like a physical blow. She understood everything now: how Jason had read her journal, how he'd manipulated his appearance and behavior to match her written fantasies, and how she was just another beautiful object for his collection. Nina ran back to her apartment and locked herself in her room, unable to even scream despite the terror consuming her. When her phone buzzed with Jason's texts, she couldn't bring herself to read them. He called 101 times before finally stopping. Days passed. Nina stopped going to classes, stopped eating, stopped speaking to anyone. She would sit in her room staring at the journal she now hated, the very thing that had led to her downfall. Then came the morning when the Los Angeles Times featured a tragic story. A UCLA student had committed suicide by jumping from his apartment building after being rejected by the girl he loved. Jason's photograph accompanied the article. Nina's remaining sanity shattered completely. She began seeing Jason's spirit everywhere, hearing his voice whispering, "Nina, I'm still waiting for you. You belong to me alone." She would sit for hours staring at the wall and muttering, "I didn't do anything wrong. Please leave me alone." Her parents, terrified by her complete mental breakdown, had her committed to Riverside Psychiatric Hospital, hoping the professionals there could help her daughter recover. When Sandra finished the story, Rachel sat in stunned silence. The hospital felt even more ominous now, and the darkness seemed to press in around them. Suddenly, all the lights began flickering on and off rapidly before the power went out completely. In the pitch darkness, Rachel called out for Sandra, but there was no response. Feeling around the desk with her flashlight's phone, she found a handwritten note. "Rachel, I had a family emergency and had to leave immediately. Your phone went straight to voicemail. I'll be back within an hour." Rachel's heart sank. She was completely alone in this haunted place. As she stood there trembling, a shadow moved in the corner of the room. A figure stepped forward, and Rachel's scream died in her throat. It was Jason, his face twisted in the same maniacal grin she'd seen on the girl in room 11. "You are also very beautiful, and beautiful things belong only to me." His laughter filled the hospital corridors, a sound that seemed to come from beyond the grave itself. Sometimes, the line between dreams and reality becomes so blurred that it transcends even death itself. In the world of obsession and madness, some spirits never learn to let go.
If these stories sent chills down your spine, don't vanish into the darkness without hitting that like button. Share your scariest experience in the comments below, because your story might be featured next. And remember, the scariest thing is missing out. So subscribe now, before the next nightmare finds you.